In this video, I'm going to show you how to connect Heartbeat inside of Pabbly Connect and also how to create a new workflow that triggers when a new user joins your Heartbeat community. If you don't know me, I'm Misty Dorman from mistydorman.com and lifeninjatraining.com. I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs implement systems, strategies, tools, and tech to save time and mental calories running, growing their biz. And so if that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel for more like this. Okay, so let's get started. If you are a Heartbeat community manager and you are using Pabbly Connect and or considering using Pabbly Connect, hopefully this will help you out. I will share some helpful links below. I do have a link if you have not yet purchased your Pabbly subscription. There's a lifetime deal right now as I'm recording this, so I have a link for you for that. Also, if you don't have Heartbeat yet and you're just thinking about joining Heartbeat and getting your own Heartbeat community, I have a link for you for that, as well as some other helpful resources. So let's get started. Inside of your Pabbly Connect dashboard, you're going to go to create new workflow and just give it a name. We'll call this new member joins community and create. Okay, and then you need to find the Heartbeat app as a trigger. Now, if you do not understand how this works, do not fret. I'm going to walk you through the whole thing, but basically we need to say when a new user joins Heartbeat, that is our trigger. It's the event that triggers this workflow to run. Sorry, my my phone is not on silent. It's the event that triggers this workflow to run and do things, right? Takes some sort of action when a new user joins Heartbeat. So we're going to type in Heartbeat. There it is. Select that. Now, if this is your first time connecting Heartbeat to Pabbly, you are going to need to perform a few extra steps. So right here, go ahead and select new user and then connect. And right now I already have both of my Heartbeat accounts set up, but I will show you real quick how to do that. You'll just click add new connection, give it a name right here, and then it's looking for what's called an API key. Now, do not fret. You can create an API key very easily. So I'll walk you through that real quick. This is my demo, my sandbox community. And the way that you get to your API key area is to click on your name in the bottom left corner. That's where you get to your admin settings. And right here, the last one right here is API keys. So just click on that. You'll see I've already created mine, but you just click create API key, give it a name, and then it's going to give you an API key right here. You'll just select that and hit copy. I don't even know if you have to select it first. Yeah, okay. Just hit copy, and it's going to copy that into your clipboard. And then you come back here and just paste it in, okay? And then you will hit, I can't see it right now because my controls are in the way. There we go. You'll hit save. All right, but since I already have one, I'm going to just go ahead and use that one for now. And hit save. Okay, so we've got that. Now you're going to hit save and send test request. This is going to cause Pabbly to start looking for this event to happen, the new user event. Now, coming from the world of using Zapier prior to this, and trying to migrate some workflows over. I know in Zapier, I was able to just pull in the most recent trigger event. So like the most recent user that joined my community, that would just kind of automatically pop in as test data and allow me to use that. That doesn't appear to be the case in Pabbly Connect. I might be wrong. I don't know if they are looking to add that functionality or not. I am brand new to Pabbly. as I'm recording this. So I'm not sure if that's like a heavily requested feature. I just don't know. But you do need to currently create some test data for Pabbly Connect to pull in. Otherwise, what happens is when you start telling it what actions to perform on your data, it gives you the option to select from a very long list of like every piece of data from every single user who's ever joined your Heartbeat community. And that is not a desirable data to work with. I don't even know what to select out of there to make it work properly. So we do need to give it some data. And the way you're going to do that is to create a test account on your community. Okay, so we're going to create a test account. Hopefully you can see this as I'm recording. So what I've done is I've just gone into a different Chrome window using a different one of my accounts up here. If that's not a good option for you, you can do it in an incognito window. You can do it in a completely different type of browser. Basically, you want it to understand that you're not logged into your community when it opens up. Okay, so in this particular window that I have, I've never logged into the sandbox community. It's not caching any information. It's not trying to log me in when I go to the community, right? So I'm on my communities page. This actually doesn't look like it is, but it has changed my URL as I'm going through onboarding. So it knows it's me, and or it knows it's my community that I'm joining. And I'm just gonna go ahead and join right now. One little tip is to create a test account, a test email address. You can actually use your existing email address and just add plus test prior to the ampersand, the @ symbol in your email address. So you can do something like this. So I have mistydorman.com. I could do like Misty plus test at mistydorman.com. Now, this does work with Gmail. I'm not sure what email addresses it works with. And in order for this to work with your custom domain, so like if you have an email address like this, that is your custom domain after the ampersand, you do have to have it set up in your settings that any email that doesn't exist, any email address that doesn't exist but is being sent to your domain would automatically go to your main email address. Hopefully that makes sense. If it's too confusing for you and you do own a Gmail email address, go ahead and just use that one. But you're basically putting a plus sign, and then you can write anything here. It can be one, or I like to do like test 1 or 2 or 3, in case I have to start doing something multiple times. That is always fun, right? To have to do it multiple times. So just create a new one each time and you should be good to go. And I'm going to hit, let's see, I don't want to log in. I want to create a new account. So let's see what happens if it directs me to create a new account because, okay. Please enter. Okay. I'm going to go and find that code. Hang on one second. Okay, let's try putting in our number. And what happened there? Nothing happened. Okay, hold on one second. Okay, not sure what I did. It's working now though. Make sure you are using your invitation link and not just your community's login page. Because I think that might be what I did wrong there. But I did copy the invitation link just now, and it automatically updated this page with the invitation link in my onboarding process. So interesting. Anyway, go ahead and walk yourself through all of this lovely onboarding process here. And since it's a test account, you can, whatever you want to do. Oops, I don't know why. I'm going to be test. You can always go in and delete this in a little bit. Okay, those are the only required questions, and finish. Okay, So we're not going to watch that video right now. I'm just going to minimize this, and we're going to go back to Pabbly Connect and look at that Misty test named test. It all pulled right in. Okay, now these are supposed to be the field names, and I know they're named a little bit funny, some of them, but that's okay. We're going to find just exactly the data that you need. Okay. So next we're going to perform the action. So whenever a new user joins Heartbeat, what is the action we're trying to take here? Now, for my test here, what I would like to do is add them to an Airtable database. You could do this with Google Sheets or, whatever you want. Or you can skip this one if you don't need to create a list for yourself, a spreadsheet for yourself. You can at any time go into Heartbeat in your all users area and download a CSV file with a full list of your entire community. For my purposes, what I'm planning to do is create this database in Airtable that I can then perform other actions on and just have that data always up to date. So I will be creating another Pabbly workflow that goes in and updates this database if someone makes a change to their information in Heartbeat. So for example, if someone updates their email address, I will have a Pabbly workflow that goes in and just make sure that that is up to date in this database. Okay. So for now, we just want to create the record, right? We want to add them to the database. So I'm going to select Airtable. And the action event is create a record. Connect. Okay, now in the same way that you needed to get an API, an API key, you will also need to do something similar with Airtable. Okay, so you've got to create that connection for the first time. It's going to tell you how to go and do that. You just do add a new connection. It's telling you and linking you to exactly where to go do that. I'm going to go ahead and select my existing Airtable account that I already have set up. Okay, and now it's trying to find which database I want to add this information to. I'm going to add it to my community. I actually need to change the name of that, but it's my community table that I'm using. And I'm going to add it to this particular table name. So if you have multiple tabs within that database, multiple tables in there, then you're going to just choose the proper table. Okay. Now, I did also take the Heartbeat export of all my users since I have an existing community, and I imported it into Airtable. I did also have to kind of manipulate the data in there a little bit. And I can't exactly show that during this video because it has real data in there. But let me see if I can tell you what I did with it. Okay, so actually I can show you. I just kind of created a copy of that table and just removed the data from it. So right now I just typed in 12345 as my Heartbeat ID and first last for the name. So one thing that I did have to do since I pulled in all the existing data from the Heartbeat CSV, the Heartbeat CSV only has a full name field. It does not have first and last name split out currently. If you're watching this later, it might, and you may not have to do any of this, in which case you can skip ahead a little bit. But I did need to break out the existing data. And so the way that I did that is I created a new field and I made it a formula. Okay, now let's see if I can figure out how I did this. Okay, I will post these formulas below in the comments in case you, or the description, I mean, in case you need this. So I have found a website, a forum, I guess, an Airtable community post where there are some formulas for extracting and splitting out the first and last name. So this is the one for first name. I'm going to copy that Now, you only need to do this if you need the names to be separate in your table. If you don't, skip ahead a little bit, and it's totally fine to have it all together. It just depends on what you're going to be doing with the data later. So go ahead and paste that in here, and my field is not full name, so I'm just going to make sure that this actually reflects the name of my name field, if that makes sense. And let's see if we got that. Okay, so as you can see, I forgot to name this. We're going to call this first name. I'm just going to call it formula to keep it different from my first name field for just a moment. Okay, and then we also need to get the last name. So we are going to grab the last name. And that is also going to be a formula. Last name formula. Okay. And we're going to go back to this post here. And somebody posted the last name formula, which I believe this is the one that worked for me. We'll just double check here. Okay, and this one does have the word name as the column name, so this should, in theory, work properly. Let's give it a try. There we go. So we've got first, last. That's from my test data that I stuck in here. So if I had another record, let's see, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and I did my name, Missy Dorman. That should, yep, it just auto-populated in. So that means this column is a formula and it is extracting from this, okay? In order for Pabbly Connect to write separate first and last names to here when it creates the record, it does need this to be a text field and not a formula field. Let's see what happens if I change this back to a text field. I'm just going to copy this in case I need it back because I think it would lose what's in there. But let's just double check. We need single line text. Save. It did actually keep it. So you can change it back to single line text, and this should work just fine after you've imported your data from the CSV file, meaning all your existing users. After you've put them all in here, pasted them into your Airtable base, then you can change this formula back to just regular text and just call it first name. Okay. I actually have mine set up as, is it multi-line text? Let's see, customize field type. I have it as long text. So yeah, go ahead and change this to be, I guess, long text, just in case somebody had a really long name. It can be single line text or it can be long text. Single line is fine, I guess. Sorry if I'm confusing you. So go ahead and change those after the fact, after you have your formulas working and all of the existing data in this table is correct. Go ahead and change them to single line text and let's see what happens. Okay. And I'm going to delete, since this is my test table, I'm just going to go ahead and delete these extra ones. Rename these first name and last name. Okay, save. All right, the other thing I had to change in this table is the date. This date also needs to be not a date field, so just make sure after you paste in your data, if this is showing as some sort of date field, change it to single line text, and that should fix that problem. I don't think I had to tweak anything else. I did add some extra, actually this might have already been in here. So the columns that you need, just to be sure, in your Airtable is the heartbeat ID. That's going to come from, that's going to be your unique identifier that, so that later on, if you ever want to update this table, you can find which record to update. But also for right now, it keeps it unique, making sure that every single row is unique. And that is probably better to use than something like their full name or their email address or something like that. Okay, and then you have the name column because you're going to have the full name in here all as one variable or one field, okay, coming in from the spreadsheet as well. You got first and last name. This is when the record was created, when the new user joined in Heartbeat. You've got their email address. That also needs to be set as some sort of text and not an email address, I believe, in order for the integration to work. You have the role. That is like if they are a user, or I've renamed mine member. So mine come in and it says member, but user or a moderator or an admin, and also their bio. So you will pull that in separately. And I've also got all of my onboarding questions here, which pulled over, I believe, from the CSV file. Now, currently in Pabbly Connect, it does not pull in all of the separate onboarding questions separately. It does have the one bio field, which is essentially how their onboarding questions came through into their bio, their profile. So that is what you can pull right now. I am hoping that these will be added, and I do have a request in for that. So if you're watching this later, they may have added the different onboarding questions. I'm planning to use my Airtable base in order to keep a good record of all of the pain points of my audience. So I have this question during onboarding: if you could wave a magic wand and fix one thing in your business, what would it be? So I can come right into here in theory and see the entire list. And I was doing this when we were had our community in Facebook as well. And we just kept a running list of people's answers to that, which gives me, content ideas and helps me to know what is the biggest struggle my community is having, right? So you can manually right now come out and like paste their answers from their intro, or however you want to do is totally fine. Or it's going to be kind of all jumbled together in this bio field. Okay. So next, we're going to go back to Pabbly Connect. I'm actually going to tell it to refresh since I added that extra table in my Airtable for my demo. And I'm just going to make sure I'm using that. Okay. That table. Oh my goodness, my phone is going bonkers because I forgot to turn the sound off. Okay. Now, this is where we're mapping our data. So we're saying, as a new user is added to Heartbeat, we want to add their heartbeat data into which field in Airtable, right? So this is the Airtable field name. That is the header right here, the column name, heartbeat ID, right? That is what this is. Okay, so in the Airtable heartbeat ID, what data comes in here? What goes there? Okay, and this one is a little bit weird to find, but I did discover that what matches the data that's coming in from the heartbeat CSV file is, let's find it. This one, it's going to say something like res2 ID, and it's right under groups 0 ID, res2 group 0 ID. I don't know if the order on this will change, but that is what I'm finding is the proper ID. It does look like in this case, it's matching res1 ID. Let's see. 3FD. Yeah, it does look like that is matching. If you find that these two are different in your test data, I would just use this one, and it's going to work either way. Okay, it should work either way as long as you are consistent and you're using the same field for this workflow for creating the record in Airtable, and then for updating the record, you're using the same data. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and use this one because that's what I've been choosing each time. Okay. And then you have to click off of it so that kind of goes away. Now this is asking what I want to put in the name field. So I want the full name, and that is going to be this one. It's just called name. I'm going to click off and go to first name. So we're just mapping the data. First name is down here. Last name. Let's see. It's down a little further. Okay. Created at. Okay. Now, if you did not properly create a test account and have your test account data pull in here, this is where it would just be, you would not just be seeing only this much data. You would be seeing every user that ever joined your Heartbeat. And that is overwhelming. And you see how they're named like Res 1, Res 2. You'd have that for every single user, and you wouldn't know which one you're actually supposed to be mapping right now. So that is why we go ahead and create that test account. All right, so we are working on created at. Okay, so I'm looking for created at. There it is. Get the email. And so just whatever fields you want in your Airtable, this is all your columns for that. The role, yours might say, well, probably, oh, okay, interesting. I must have joined as an admin with that, with that, yeah, with that invitation link, it made me an admin. So that's fine. Yours will probably say user right there if you use the proper invitation link. Bio. And for me, it doesn't matter because this is my test account I'm using right now. Okay, so bio, there should be, I think it's towards the top. Let's see, right there. It's short this time because I was testing, so I was looking for something longer. All right, and then these I cannot currently map. I'm just going to be manually separating out the bio into these various columns probably until Heartbeat adds the ability to map them. Okay. And then I just leave this as false, and we're going to save and send test request. So in theory, this should add a record to my Airtable base. Let's go find that. Oops, I keep clicking that wrong one. Okay. And it did. So this has that funny long Heartbeat ID. It's got the name. It filled everything out properly. Nothing errored. So that is good. It will error if you do not change this created at to be text instead of a time or date type of a field. And like I said, I think it would also error or not work properly if you leave these as formulas. I don't think that's going to work right. Okay, and you could just do this, but I want to do an extra step in here that I'll be doing in my community, and that is to send a direct message so that my new member has their very first DM and knows how to go and find that. So I'm going to use Heartbeat because I'm performing this action inside of Heartbeat. Okay, and did I even select the right one? Let's hang on a second. Okay, no, it's later when I select which one. Okay, so I'm going to find the send a direct message, hit connect. Here we go. I want to make sure I have my sandbox, but you're going to just select your community. You do not have to set up that API key every time. Once it's set up, it's set up. You don't need to keep doing that. Okay, so send a direct message, and then I need to tell it which message to set up, right? What is the message? Now, I don't necessarily need to pull any data from here, but let me actually copy and paste from my other, my actual live setup here, live workflow. Okay, so this is what I have my message set to in my live workflow. Do not fret. Do not fret. I will show you exactly how to do this. I'm going to delete right here. And I want the person's first name in here. So I'm going to use Heartbeat. I'm getting the data of their first name from Heartbeat. I'm going to put that right there. Okay, so let me show you what the heck is going on here in case you're not familiar with HTML. Basically, I am just designating, I probably actually don't need this one right here. Let's see. There we go. Okay. I'm designating where I want new lines, and I want a little bit of space in between the lines. So you can either have this in the brackets be a P for a new paragraph, which will kind of squish the line spacing together. Or you can do BR, which is a break, meaning it's going to separate them just a little bit more. And so it's just these brackets with BR in between them. And you do that at every carriage return, every time you would have hit enter in a message and drop down to the next line. Hopefully that makes sense. So I'm doing, hey, first name. Okay, so this is going to automatically fill it with this person's first name. Welcome to the Life Ninjas community. That's the name of my community. We're excited to have you here. And then this is the end of that first line. So it's this bracket /BR to close out the this particular break or paragraph. Okay. And then I'm starting a new break. I really want like a little bit of space in between. Please take a quick minute to, okay, now we have some more code. And this is just a link to a document that I have that teaches them how to update their profile. If you don't have that, you don't need this in here. Just say like, please take a minute to check your bio or update your profile, that kind of thing. So what this is this is the bracket again, AHREF equals, and then parentheses, and then this is the link that I'm sending them to with my instructions. Okay, and then parenthesis, and then close the bracket. Okay, and then what I want to be a link in here is this text. Check your bio from desktop. And then I'm closing that link with a bracket /A. It matches this A right here. So it's closing this A tag. Okay. And then I've got a space because I want a space after that link. And make sure your links and description are how you like. Sometimes the bio description can display a little funny from the onboarding questions because the onboarding questions do pull into your bio. So I'm just telling them like, go make sure that everything looks how you want it. I'm closing out this paragraph, starting a new one. Other than that, please check okay, now I'm linking to one of my channels using the same format. I'm linking to my Start Here channel. So other than that, please check the Start Here channel and have fun exploring. Can't wait to get to know you better and see how we can best serve you as a community. Okay. And then I just got my name down there. All right. So they're going to get this message from me. This has to be done from an admin account. And this is the message that they will get. You can test this when you, since you are sending this to your test account, you're going to be testing it to make sure it looks okay. So we'll do that in a second. Receiving user. Okay, so this is automatically, I believe, going to the right person. It definitely should be. And test user or sending user is going to be yourself. Okay, I accidentally used the admin invitation link on this community. And so it's giving me the option to send it to myself. Basically, I can't do that. You can't have the sending and receiving be the same person anyway. So this will be just like a list of admins on your account. And you want to make sure your name is selected there as the sending user. Receiving user is currently it's going to be your test account. Okay. So make sure that you have it sent to there. Actually, we want this dynamic. So you need to map it. Sorry about that. You do need to map it and send it to the Heartbeat user who just signed up for your community, not your test account every time, right? So I thought I clicked that, but it didn't go. There we go. Receiving user. We're going to delete this because we don't want this sort of static information. We want to go to Heartbeat right here and grab that ID. So I used this ID down here. Whichever one you used, make that be the same one. Okay. And sending user still is you. It's you every time. You want it to be sent from you. Or if you have a community manager that you want it to be sent from, choose that person. So I'm going to go ahead and hit save and send test request. And I heard a ding. Let's go see if I got a direct message in the community. Okay, so I need to go into, I need to actually finish onboarding here. One second. Okay, I'm going to go continue to community. Let me make that smaller because it's not keeping my face on the screen. Okay, let's see if we received a message. We did. We received a message from Misty Dorman. And here's how that looks. So it's actually not even creating space in those breaks right now. I thought it was, hang on a second. Let's see how it looks from my sending. No, it didn't. So I thought in my testing the other day that it did actually create a little more vertical space. It did not. So, feel free to use the paragraph brackets with the P in it or the BR. It's going to do apparently about the same thing. Maybe at some point the BR will create that little extra space like it's supposed to. So anyway, as you can see, this is using my links properly, and it has all of the text that I want. It did put the first name in there, and everything looks good. So we're going to go back to Pabbly. Pabbly by default has your workflow just on already. It's kind of the opposite of Zapier. So if you don't want that on just yet, go ahead and turn it off. If you do want it on, it is probably already on. Just double check that. So now, if you've set this up, if you followed along with me, then anytime a new user joins your community, they are going to get added to this Airtable database that you have. And they're going to receive a text message from you or your community manager, whoever you selected, that says like, hey, welcome to the community. And they've gotten their very first text message. So I think that's it for now. I may create another video showing how to go in and update this Airtable spreadsheet. So let me know in the comments below if you would like that. And I think that's it. So as I said, I'll post some helpful links below for other Heartbeat or Pabbly resources that I have for you. Thanks for watching. And I will see you in the next one. Bye, Ninja.